Hello friends, evolutionary astrologer Shannon Gill here, back to talk briefly just a little bit about the full moon in Libra, which exacts tonight, April 5th, 2023, around 11:30 p.m. Central Time. And that would be at 16 degrees. So anytime that we are arriving at a full moon, we need to remember that we're not just completing one lunar cycle, but we're actually completing a 6-month cycle that began when the moon was new in that same sign, which would have been last October. So the moon is full in Libra, which means that it is directly opposed by the sun, which is in Aries. So anytime we have a full moon, then we're dealing with an axis of polarity, where the sun is illuminating the dark of the moon into its fullness. And so this is the axis often called the axis of me and we. Me being Aries, the initiating force, the birth, all about separation from the cosmic womb, coming back to life, independent, pioneering, a desire to be in action, initiating new beginnings. And we being the Libra, which is all things relating to relationships, all things relating to cooperation and balance, desiring of peace and harmony. So as the sun has just recently entered Aries and began this new cycle, a lot of the deeper inquiry is around who am I? We're being reborn, literally. We're not separate from nature. Who am I in this new cycle? And this new cycle is new in so many ways. If you think about how fast evolution has just been speeding up. And so there's these bigger questions around identity, the bigger questions around what is my role? What am I here to initiate? What am I going to want to will into being? So this is literally in the Northern Hemisphere when the seeds are coming up from the ground and they're fighting for life. This is the archetype of the warrior, Aries. And while Aries is a powerful force of creation, when out of balance or in shadow, it's overly individualistic, competitive, and self-seeking. And here is where we would look to the polarity point of Libra to seek the balanced expression of Aries. Libra desires relationship over all else. Libra is the sign of the scales, which is about balance and cooperation, patience and listening. And so you can see here the duality that we're dancing with. Here at this full moon, we're looking back of the last 6 months and saying, where are we at with our relationship dynamics? And perhaps you would ask yourself the question, where do you fall on the spectrum? Are you more in the Aries realm of really confident and putting yourself and your needs first and really active and initiating? Or are you more on the Libra side, really concerned about other people's thoughts and how they feel and your relationship union and the health of the dynamic? So these are big questions. Obviously, relationships are crucial and paramount to all of our lives, but there is always a collective component to be considered. Now, remember, we are looking at the rate of evolution that is definitely in high drive, overdrive acceleration. And look at the state of the planet, right? The level of division, the opposition of beliefs, my version of reality versus your version of reality. And so there's those people that are going to ramrod their truth. And then there's those other people that are going to dance around and try to accommodate or make people comfortable or just keep the peace. And it appears to me that this dynamic is going to become really crucial as far as where we're going to go as a humanity. And the reason is because Libra has a whole nother dimension that we haven't talked about yet as the importance to this time that we're in, way beyond the fact that we're at this full moon in Libra. So as we know, we have to always frame the larger cycles behind the smaller cycles, as astrology is a continual cycle upon cycle, cycles within cycles, micro and macro cycles. And the macro cycle is this big shift from the Pisces age into the Aquarian age, completely restructuring reality, the end of an era, the birth of a new era. So this is quite a quest that we're being called upon. We are certainly the pioneers of this new age. And yet the map is astrology, right? And so to get a little bit more specific information into what is this new paradigm? How do we work with this new Aquarian age? We look at what's called the decans. So every astrological sign is broken into 3 sections, and they're called decans. And so the first section, or the first decan that we're traveling through in this new Age of Aquarius, and again, if it's a third of the sign, we know it's 2,000 years plus for an age. We're talking about the first 700 years is going to be in this first decan in Aquarius, which is Libra. So now you understand what I'm talking about. Like, okay, we have to really understand what this energy, this dynamic, this archetype of Libra is about, to give us clues as to how to be successful as we traverse into these unknown waters of building this new age, this new paradigm. And so looking deeper into Libra, I know that I referenced relationships and I call it the lover archetype, but really at the essence of this, what I really see Libra as is the sacred mirror. So in astrology, there's 12 signs. The first 6 are the evolution of the individual, where we arrive at Virgo, the mastery level, and we realize yet we can only go so far alone, and we transition into the upper hemisphere and we hit Libra. And this is the reflective process where we realize that we can go so much further together, that we can hold space for each other's accelerated evolution by, first of all, recognizing we're not truly separate. So going back to remembering what's the paradigm we're evolving out of, the Pisces age, right? Where the 2 fish are definitely separate, thinking they're separate. They're swimming in opposite directions. And the new age of Aquarius is where those fish, they turn and they face each other. And they see each other as reflections of the one, that they're not separate at all, that we're all fractals experiencing ourselves as separate, finding our way back into union. I often think about the creation story whenever I try to really understand where we're at as a humanity. There's so much complexity, and we can really simply remember what we were taught as children. You know, when something like this, from nothing came something, there was dark, then there was light, then there became masculine and feminine. From there, consciousness splits off into multiplicity, experiencing itself as separate in every crevice of the universe. Okay? And now we are turning back towards the movement and the motion back towards unification. So humanity goes to sleep and wakes up over and over thousands of periods. And coming out of the dark ages of Pisces, now we're reemerging back into the light. The light coming on is this awareness of us all being one organism, as us all being fractals of God. In a state of amnesia. Remember, we're waking up. We're still coming out of this dream state. So this sacred mirror of Libra is a very tangible platform that we can work on every day of our life, whether it's with our most intimate relationships, or it's with our neighbors, or it's with people that we don't even know, that we're projecting and we're dividing upon, and we're blaming, oh, it's this fault, and those are the evildoers. From all of that, separation consciousness is simply coming from that state of illusion that we're separate in the first place. So this is where I get really excited. I have a Libra moon, 3 planets in Libra, in the 8th house, so I like to go deep. It's all about alchemy. And truly, that's what we're realizing. This is part of this awareness of this time, is that we are all alchemists. We are transmuting dark into light. We are synthesizing duality. We're finding unification of polarity. So Libra is the most potent of all of the containers or the cauldrons or the crucibles that we want to see of how we can work with this. So this is why every single relationship dynamic is an opportunity. Every single relationship that we have is a way to learn about ourselves, whether it's we're reflecting the light and we're holding each other up and saying, wow, you're so amazing. Or we're getting triggered and we're saying, I don't like that person. I don't want that person near me. The invitation is to get curious. What is it? What is the trigger? And to look deeper, because that person is most often giving us a gift to see something that we don't want to see. Either something inside of us that we're disowning, or an opposite energy that maybe we're actually needing to step into. And so to see everything as vibration, as reflection, as frequency is the ticket. So holding that awareness in the background and back to this lunation, this full moon, this particular full moon also holds more weight than a usual full moon. And that is because it opens up the eclipse gates. So for the next 6 weeks, we are in what is known as the eclipse portal. Eclipses happen twice a year, every 6 months, when there's a newer full moon conjunct the nodal axis, which is the collective destiny line, if you will, has to do with the evolution of humanity. And when we're in an eclipse portal, things take on a more rapid speed. The material that arises is very pertinent to our future, that is in alignment with our soul's deeper purpose. The grounds are often very unstable. The lights are out metaphorically during eclipses, which means that our normal control mechanism, our consciousness, is temporarily thwarted in a sense, so that the acceleration of forces can come in and reshuffle the cards of our lives. And so this full moon in Aries Libra, that archetypal polarity is also very important, because the first eclipse that arises, which is going to be the second new moon of the new year, is on April 20th, and it's in Aries. It's at the 29th degree of Aries, which is known as the critical degree or the death degree. It's the last degree of the sign. And so I plan to come back on and go into depth around the meaning of the eclipses, but you can sense already that there's something that's exceptionally important that is being seeded right now at this full moon. So the power of astrology resides in our ability to find alignment with the planetary movements. And so here at this full moon, the invitation is really to reflect upon these dynamics, these archetypes of Aries and Libra, and to really take a moment to pause and to reflect back over the last 6 months and your relationship dynamics. And perhaps it's true, a relationship is ending, or perhaps it's just a toxic pattern or a way of dancing with self and other. So this is really a time to allow space for what is moving, for evolution in action at a full moon, to release what was before and to make space for the new. Also keep in mind that, as I said, this particular lunation opens the eclipse gate. So start paying attention, because the themes will be revealed. And the eclipses are going to happen on April 20th, which is the solar eclipse, the new moon, at the 29th degree of Aries. And then we'll have 2 weeks later the full moon, so a lunar eclipse, which is occurring at 14 degrees of Scorpio. And then the eclipse window will close at the following new moon, which is 2 weeks later. I believe it's May 19th. So for this next 6 weeks, it's a time of accelerated evolution. Big changes. While we are able to die and be reborn every month with a new and a full moon, whenever it's a solar and a lunar eclipse, the implications are much longer and much grander. The beginnings and the endings will play out over months, if not years, of our life. So it's a time to start to slow down. It's a time to pay attention to nuance. Monks would say that thoughts, actions, and deeds take on 10,000 times their weight during an eclipse season. And while we know that since Pluto has entered Aquarius, everything is speeding up, and Saturn's in Pisces, so our reality is very surreal and dissolving on some level, even more important that we take time to go within, to be more mindful, to be more patient with one another, to have compassion for ourselves and others. We don't really have a map. Astrology is our closest thing to a map, and we are truly the pioneers of the new world. And so, just in closing, thinking again about the duality between the Aries sun and the Libra full moon, this is our relationship to how do we be in action? How do we be effective pioneers and leaders of the new world, while also accommodating others, while also being in balance with other people's needs and other people's direct action and their leadership, and to make space for all of us. Because essentially, that's what we're here to try to do in this new paradigm, is to come into the full awareness of ourselves as an organism, and to start constellating in community where everybody has a voice, everybody has a path, everybody has a purpose, everybody has a leader inside in some realm in their life. And so I'll leave you with that, wishing you so many blessings. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for being part of the shift.